I work for Entergy.
And I'm committed to my customers.
That means reliable,
affordable power.
Every year, we save our customers millions.
Buying wholesale power at the best rates.
New natural gas power plants ensure lower prices for years to come.
And we're giving you smarter technology
to take control of your bill.
Our rates are among the lowest in the nation.
And I'm making sure they stay that way.
Because together,
we power life.
All right, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, are you ready for a fun evening? No. Robert just voted no, so we have one dissenting vote. Hey, look, my name is Marshall Ramsey. I, of course, work at the University of Mississippi. I'm the director of the Media Lab, but you might know me from a couple cartoons that I've drawn over the last 30 years and some other things I've done as well. But one thing I have done for many years is be the MC of the roast. And I'm very, very, very pleased to be here for many reasons. Number one, Robert is now eligible for a Nobel Peace Prize because he managed to get Wyatt Emmerich and Haley Fizzackerly in the same room. This is a wonderful moment. I tell you what, there are going to be a lot of jokes made tonight. There's going to be a lot of love spread around as well. We have a great lineup of roasters. I think you're going to enjoy it. We'll talk about that for 2 seconds. Basically, I will say this about Robert. I've known Robert for many, many years. I had the privilege of being, you remember on Bewitched how they switched Darrens halfway through the show? I was like a substitute Wyatt for 1 year, and we did a book together, and I signed Wyatt's name for pretty much a whole Christmas season. But Robert and I got to illustrate his book. I got to draw him, and I forgot, just because I make fun of politicians for a living with my drawings, I shouldn't make fun of the people who I'm drawing, that literally is paying me to draw in his book. We will not show those cartoons tonight because they have been buried beneath the sea. But I am really privileged to be basically the guy who's running things tonight, because I'm really, really proud of Robert and everything that he has done with his career. Of course, he's opened 6,000 restaurants. He's now on 4,000 million TikToks every single day. He's in 4 countries at the same time. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand something about Robert St. John's success. About 10 years ago, he made a deal with the devil, Dr. Timms, at the Polymer Institute at Southern Miss, and they created a cloning experiment there, and Robert has been cloned numerous times. So if you see Robert in Scotland, he's also in Hattiesburg at the same time, but he's also in Italy at the same time. Well, the problem is they started running out of material. And the clone that we have here today is the 8th Robert that they've made, and there just ain't a whole lot of him left. So if you wonder, it's like, Robert, have you lost weight? Oh, yes, that's what it is. But I'm really, really proud of him. And I've always said that he really started to soar when Extra Table came along. And, I've always been proud of him, not only as a businessman and an entrepreneur and a restaurateur and a civic guy as well, but he's a great family man as well. So just to get all that out of the way, that's the only nice stuff I will say for the evening. And actually, I'm going to say something else nice, because up next, the first roaster is a gentleman named Malcolm White. Now, you may have heard of Malcolm a little bit. It's like having Elvis in the building. Malcolm led the Mississippi Arts Commission, an arts-based granting and servicing agent, for 12 years as the executive director before retiring there in September of 2020. He also served as the director of Visit Mississippi, the state's tourism office, where he developed and implemented plans to create economic growth and opportunities through tourism, the creative economy, and promoted the state as a travel destination and film location. Prior to his time in public service, he worked in the hospitality industry, owning and operating an iconic gathering spot in Jackson. You may have heard of it. It's called Hal and Mal's. And organizing, yes, definitely deserves an applause line there. But he also, I'm going to deviate a little bit from the written text here a little bit, just to say that he has made a huge impact in the quality of life in the state of Mississippi. And one of them is just organizing special events and festivals throughout the South and here, of course, in the Jackson area. He created and continues to produce the House St. Patty's Parade, which benefits the children of Mississippi and has generated over $10 million in economic impact for the city of Jackson. Malcolm's a native of Stone County, Mississippi. He currently co-hosts the weekly Mississippi Broadcasting radio show, Deep South Dining at Mississippi Public Broadcasting. For many years, I had the privilege of having the show right after his, so I got to see Malcolm every Monday, and we're kind of confused because today ain't Monday, but it's good to see Malcolm. Everybody, give it up for Malcolm White.
Thank you so much. Thank you. It's good to see everybody. I don't get out much anymore, so when I do, it's good to see folks. As I was preparing to be here tonight, it dawned on me that Robert and I have an awful lot in common. Though we really didn't cross paths until late 79, 80, when I had moved from Hattiesburg to Jackson. And he had recently bought was Jeremiah's, a bar, restaurant, and live music club opened by the guys who brought you the Gin in Oxford. And they were coming to Hattiesburg to show us, Robert, how to operate in a college town. But they didn't last very long. But you came in behind them, swept in, and you wanted to get some advice before you entered the cutthroat world of buying and promoting live music. And so we had a nice visit, and you wisely moved on from that pursuit and did not linger long in the live music genre. Magical things happened for me in Hattiesburg in the mid-'70s, and Robert works magic there every day. Robert and I were both Piney Wood kids who lost a parent early in our lives. We spent formative years on the Mary Walker Bayou and ended up in the hospitality biz in Hattiesburg. Love and have dabbled in radio, both got sober and came of age, building our brands before such a language was created. We both became darlings of the media, and we thank you, each and every one of you. And we excelled, and excelled in the fine art of self-promotion. Other than me, there has not ever been anyone more profuse self-marketer in all of Mississippi. But worry not, Robert, you now have easily surpassed me, Jeff Good, Jill Connor Brown, Stafford Sheridan, Steve Azar, and all the others. When we first started to hang out is when I got interested in the Mississippi Arts Commission job and the work ahead in post-Katrina. And I had one mantra, and my mantra was that the only complete recovery is including the recovery of your art, your story, and your culture, and your history. And Robert bought into that. And Robert paved the way for me to get the job at the Arts Commission because he was on the board and he was also on the search committee. But back then, Robert was running with Bill Dunlap, Wyatt Waters, David Trigiani, and they were the Fab Four. And I would tag along from time to time, kind of like Billy Preston, the fifth Beatle. You know, growing up, Robert knew that 2 + 2 made 4, but it worried him. And in fact, I think it still does. Robert is many things: a husband, a father, a brother, a son, a good neighbor, a writer, a publisher, a documentarian, a board member, a tour guide, a friend, a Beatles fan, an advocate, a provider for the hungry, a philanthropist, a good citizen, a man of conviction, a seeker of salvation, a sponsor, and of course, a restaurateur. If you didn't know it, Robert's been in restaurant business for 43 years. Is that right, Robert?
That's right.
That's right. If you don't believe it, check him out. He's online, he's live, and he's posting on a regular basis. In every sense of the expression, Robert is a serial entrepreneur, a multi-geared businessman. However, his attention span is that of a mosquito. If there's anything you want to engage him with, it has to be reduced to 30 seconds or less. In fact, I don't think he's listening now. And we may have to take his phone away from him somewhere along the way. And Holloman, I'm sorry, but I understand that he angers you because you constantly run into him at the tanning salon. It's got to be embarrassing to run into your dad. My question is there only one tanning salon in Hattiesburg? Can't you let her have her own salon? She needs to. The least you could have. Another thing about Robert is he's convinced that any sickness or ailment that anyone has around him that he will catch. And I'm going to tell you, he's watching y'all right now. He's seeing who's scratching, who's coughing, and who's got a runny nose. And those of you with those symptoms will not get a hug after this event. May not even get a handshake. To say that he's a bit of a germaphobe is quite an understatement. During COVID, when everyone was slathering themselves and their surroundings with Germ-X, Robert's life didn't change. He was just happy that the rest of the world had finally come to its senses to see germ warfare the way he did. You know, he has so many ideas all the time that he needs bumpers, sort of like a bowling alley, to rein him in. And by the way, did y'all know he owned and operated a bowling alley for a few months in Jackson? It was in Fondren. You may have missed it if you blinked. He used to text his people at all hours of the day and night until there was a revolt. And I know many of his people are here tonight, and you know of what I speak. Then he figured out how to schedule text. So, on Monday mornings, his people are all buried with the thoughts from Robert's weekend. It's like Robert St. John texts diarrhea every Monday morning from these poor people who work for him. You know, he's the primary reason I got the job at the Arts Commission, as I said. And he's come to my aid more than one occasion to save me from being fired by the governor or the board or both. When I refused to yield to the bullshit and showed strength to power, Robert was always there, shaking his head and repeating in a low voice, "Man, you gotta stop running your mouth or you're gonna lose this job." And he was right. You know, Robert and I don't always agree on politics, but we do always agree that Mississippi's greatest assets are arts, culture, and our story. And the telling of the Mississippi story is what we need to get busy doing. Robert had to convince Haley Barber at one time to hire me at the Arts Commission, and Haley was later quoted as saying, "We all need to get off of our assets and be about the business of telling the Mississippi story." And y'all, that's the gospel. You know, Robert is driven. Some people say he's obsessed. He posts daily reels in one of those, you see this big guy with a full gray beard, like Grizzly Adams. And then the very next one, you see in this clean-shaven, buffed, thin, tan dude looking like Sting. My question is, do you have a portrait of Dorian Gray in your closet somewhere?
It's science.
And this is what he will tell us on social media. What he eats for breakfast, where he eats breakfast, who he eats breakfast with, what time and why. His pancakes at the Midtowner have their own set of core values. For Robert St. John, there's a story and a reel for every task and every hour of every day. Check him out. He's online. Strike the pose. This is propping his biceps up, so we're going to ask you all, if you would, on the count of three, strike the Robert St. John pose. 1, 2, 3. That's it. This dude opens restaurants like Hemingway's took wives, often opening them while he's in other countries. He once opened an Italian restaurant while he was touring Italy. Who does that? He's taken to calling restaurants concepts, a popular vernacular, I understand. But still, aren't they restaurants? I mean, imagine saying to your partner, "Honey, you go out tonight and eat at one of Robert's concepts?" Dude's weird. He never met a consultant that he didn't hire. There's a whole video set of Meet the Consultant. One of his latest strategic planning retreat, one of his recent trip to Italy, Spain, or Scotland, one on pancakes, one on his favorite Italian food, one on how to prepare the proper hamburger, and all these running concurrent in rotation. If you don't believe me, check him out. He's online right now. He's live. In the restaurant business, there are heated rivalries like Budweiser and Coors and Miller Lite and Pepsi and Coke. And you just don't confuse those because they're really important. Now, Robert is not much of a product endorsement guy unless, of course, the product is himself. Then he's all about it. But at Pepsi Pops one time, he and Wyatt were MCs. And at the intermission, Robert jumps enthusiastically to the mic and announces to the crowd, head out to the concession stands and get yourself a Coke. Well, Bill Brown of Brown Bottling Company was not pleased. Needless to say, that was the last time they worked that gig.
But Marshall got the gig next.
Yeah. And then you'll get it next, and then...
I hate Pepsi.
But seriously, folks, Robert is ineffable. He's bold, he's brave, big-hearted, and bodacious. I have no doubt that if I ever needed a friend, as I have in the past, he would drop his fork, step out of the spotlight, and come running. Of course, there will probably be a production team trailing along behind him, recording everything he says and everything he does, because he is forever live and online and living large. Strike the pose.
Everybody give it up for Malcolm. Thank you, Malcolm. Thank you for leading the parade. Excuse me, I'm choking up here. That was touching. All right, our next roaster, Brian Haydad, has been talking about sports in Mississippi for 14 years. What did you start when you were 12? How did you pull that off? That's great. He's been podcasting since 2011, okay, and it's part of the Super Talk Network since 2018, which means he's had a lot of practice at talking. He's a diehard Mississippi State Bulldog. By the way, great game last weekend. That was a great, everybody give them a hand. Brian's excited about letting some of the misery of the last two seasons have built up out on Robert here tonight, and he would like to remind Robert that the Beatles were in fact a boy band. I didn't just read that out loud. Anyway.
Not a boy band.
Okay, without further ado, Brian, take the stage.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Marshall. Marshall Ramsey, ladies and gentlemen, a man whose humor is so bland, Robert tried to put it on the menu. That's a great suit, Marshall.
Thank you.
Where'd you buy that? Forever 51?
Yeah. Coles.
Robert Richard Cross wanted to be here tonight, but this was too close to working on a Friday for him, so he's a no-show. It's the second time I've had to wear a tie this year. The first time I bought this suit for Robert's daughter's wedding, and then he tells me he wants me to come do this roast, and I didn't know it was a coat and tie thing until I watched the video they sent, and because I'm wearing a coat and tie, I've made my jokes 10% meaner. Look at this dais. This is not a who's who. This is a who are you? It's like I walked into a casting call for America's whitest people. Emeril Lagasse, Paul Prudhomme, Frank Brightson, Donald Link. What do these men have in common? These titans of Creole cooking. What do they have in common with Robert St. John? He's eaten at all of their restaurants. Many times. I actually reached out to Chef Lagasse and told him, hey, I'm roasting Robert St. John, and is there any anecdote or story you'd like me to tell up there? And I thought he gave a very heartfelt and sincere answer when he wrote back, I don't know who that is. It's not fair, though. It's not fair to lump Robert in with those chefs. Robert, in his core, is a seafood chef, so I put him on the same tier with the other people in that field. You know, the Titans, Long John Silver and Captain D. Robert is a huge movie buff, and he and I actually share a favorite movie, The Godfather. And he would tell me, he's like, Brian, I really identify with The Godfather, the way with his family, the decisions he had to make, and yeah. And it broke my heart to tell him, like, Robert, Fredo is not The Godfather. Robert, of course, a proud alumnus of the University of Southern Mississippi. Yeah, Golden Eagles, though, they've had it rough lately. 1-11 last year, and they lost to Mississippi State a couple weeks ago. But worse than that, every ticket on the back is a 2-for-1 coupon at any of Robert's restaurants. Haven't they suffered enough? Robert, as you know, the most successful restaurateur you will ever meet in Hattiesburg. Outside of Hattiesburg, his ventures last about as long as a groom on his wedding night. There's an entire block of Fondren that reads, RSJ was here. Now, Robert does take a lot of influence from our state's capital city, though. He only serves bottled water in his restaurants. Robert, this is the only roast you're incapable of overcooking. Robert's love for his home state goes very deep, mainly because this is the only state that would accept as much butter and saturated fat as he puts in the cooking. Every time that report comes out that Mississippi is the most obese state, Tate Reeves sends him a text like, you son of a... Congress is worried about the links between doctors and big pharma. Here's the culprit. How much blood pressure medicine and Lipitor goes out because of Robert St. John each and every year? I've been told that many of Robert Kennedy Jr.'s initiatives sprung from the opening of the Midtowner. There's too much syrup in the pancakes. You can't do too much of that impression. You'll bust the blood vessel in your eye. Have you ever eaten at one of Robert's restaurants and you're like, wow, that was actually really good. Well, I wonder how he did it. Don't worry. There'll be a TikTok along to tell you all about it at some point. This guy is putting away oysters on TikTok, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, everything but OnlyFans. If you were on there, it'd be OnlyFats. Of course, Robert is also an avid writer. Unfortunately, when it comes to his books, no one is an avid reader. I feel Robert has fallen into the trap we see so often. You go on a website and you're like, I just want to skip to recipe, but you can't do that with a book. Robert, I don't need to know how Aunt Mary Margaret personally milled the wheat in 1918 when she came over on the boat from Ireland. I just want to make the pancakes, all right? I don't need to know the name of the pig whose pork chops we're eating, all right?
All right.
They don't get a backstory. Not every slice of bacon needs a biography. Robert loves to use the word onward in his posts. Whenever he's posting something on social media, he'll say whatever he's got to say and onward. And I think he looks at it as like, hey, let's move on to the next challenge. Let's move on to the next moment in our life. I think it's what people say when they see your restaurants.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's a Golden Corral down the road. Robert loves to travel. His passport has been in more airports than Homeland Security. In fact, Robert, I'd be careful about leaving the country. There were some guys out there with some bandanas. They may want to talk to you, I think. In all seriousness, we'll get to the good part here now. In all seriousness, Robert St. John is a great man. Not a good man, a great man. He is the most selfless man I've ever met. When you talk about the friend that would pick up the phone at 3 in the morning and come to get you, that's Robert St. John. He would do anything to help his friends, his family, his community, and his state. We would all be better off if the world had more Robert St. Johns. I'm proud to call him my friend, and I hope after this I can still get him to pick up the tab at Ed's when I'm there. Thank you very much.
Well done, Brian. Everybody give Brian a hand. That was fantastic. Mississippi's own Jeffrey Ross. Good stuff. We're halfway done, folks. This is going by fast. We're having a great time. I think the tone's good. I think everybody's laughing. Y'all having a good time? Everything good? Yeah. Okay, very good. All right. Well, our next roaster, he's an award winner, like Mr. Scholarship winner. He's a television director, painter, educator, photographer, writer, musician, and filmmaker. So you can't hold down a job. That's what it sounds like there. That's great. He is a Southeast Emmy winner, though, so he has won the cool statue. He's a founding partner of the Institute for Southern Storytelling at Mississippi College. Folks, if y'all hadn't checked that out, they're doing some great work. He was named the 2019 Distinguished Art Alumna of the Year. They gave you an award. That was nice. Did you get a parking space with that?
Not a thing.
Oh, that's not worth it. Anyway, he writes, he produces, he directs, and edits programming around the South. He's a producer of Yonder Lust, a series with Robert St. John about the Southerner touring the world and realizing that we are basically the same when we gather around a table. Anthony, come up here. All right, everybody give it for Anthony Thaxton.
Well, you'll find out. You'll find out. Robert's like, what's in the bag?
got
For the
props.
record, the bacon stories are my favorite ones in the book, but my dog hates Robert St. John. You know, we used to film pallet to pallet in a little studio back out behind my house. I have a golden. Do y'all know how sweet a golden is? I mean, a golden loves everybody. Wyatt come in, that dog, Luna would just love on Wyatt. Robert comes in. Robert came in one day, you know, for a brief instant, he had a donut shop in Hattiesburg. He brought a big old thing of donuts. The dog still didn't like Robert. He's still growling at Robert. Am I right?
Yeah, the dog hated me.
The
Mean
dog.
dog.
So just to set the tone, I mean, you know, Robert has, I mean, there's always a lot of things going on with Robert. I've known Robert 20 years or so. We've done television stuff together. I've designed some of his books. And, you know, Robert is a great entrepreneur. From early on, here's the thing that he learned. He learned to surround himself with people who are smarter than him, people who are more talented than him. And, you know, it really wasn't that hard to do. And, thank you. I like that one. But, you know, Robert, he learned mainly to get this is his secret weapon. Robert has figured out how to get other people, I mean, from an early age, how to get other people to do his work for him. Okay? All right, and that's his secret. He does not cook. Linda does his recipes. AI writes his emails. Drew Wooten does all the great promos. And although I was asking Drew earlier, because I've worked with Robert filming pallet to pallet and these things. I said, Drew, did Robert tell you where to put the cameras tonight? Robert doesn't know nothing about where to put cameras, but he'll tell you where to put the cameras. I just thought I'd share that. That was extra. Martha Allen makes it look like Robert is doing charity work, you know. And I think here's my theory. My theory is Robert started Extra Table. I started to say extra credit. Robert started Extra Table simply because he wanted to find a way to get McAnally down here to do free concerts, you know, for the hungry children of Mississippi. So, like I said, I've designed some of Robert's books. You know, Marshall, you did a book with Robert, and you know how challenging that can be. We're in the middle of a deadline. We've got to get this book sent off to South Korea because it's a lot cheaper over there. And I'm frantically calling, trying to get Robert. I'm trying to reach him. Finally, he finally answers. And then I hear this. He's whispering. He said, "Hey, I can't talk. I'm in a meeting." I hear the movie theater in the background. This is 1 o'clock on a Tuesday. Robert is at the movies while all of us are out there working. I'm just being honest here, just being real. And the rest of us, you know, I mean, we're busting it. We're sitting here trying to do pallet to pallet TV show. I'm trying to get in touch with Robert, and I'm just getting frantic, and I've got to deliver this to MPB. We got to get this on, and Robert's getting a massage. When I finally reach him, he said, dude, I'm going to do this voice a couple of times tonight, but he said, "Dude, you sound stressed. You need a massage." What? I've never had a massage. I don't think that would be a great experience for me. So I'm just like, but anyway, we recently did this event in Fairhope, Alabama. All right, and this says a lot about Robert. So I was doing a painting or a drawing. Robert was talking. It's out by the Mobile Bay. It's beautiful, but it's hot. So I get there 3 hours early. All right, picture this. It's right there off of Mobile Bay. I'm setting up. I'm hauling stuff. I mean, I'm hauling books. I'm hauling the sound system. I'm carrying all this equipment. 3 hours early. We're setting up, hauling things. My heavy drafting table, because I've got to draw. And my light, and I'm extension cords, and I'm running things in the glaring sun, and sitting here, finally getting it all ready just in the nick of time, and the event's about to start 5 minutes before, and here comes Robert, looking calm, cool and collected, and I kid you not, he walks up to me and he said, "Dude, you're sweating. You're sweating." That is Robert. Yes, I am indeed sweating. I have been for about 3 hours now. There was another time we were doing pallet to pallet. And Robert, every once in a while, he gets this great idea. He'll get a really, really good idea. It's every once in a while. And when he gets it, he's going to milk that, and he's going to do it over and over and all. But Robert gets this idea, this is so great, of an Elvis, I started to say impersonator, it's an Elvis tribute artist. So we're doing this Mississippi Magical Tour, and Robert says, hey, we'll get on the bus in Oxford, and we'll drive down the road, and you go out there with Elvis. So this is, any of y'all seen Kings of Tupelo, that show? I mean, those people are crazy. This is the guy, Jack Curtis. He's in there, a nice guy. But
This is being filmed.
that's right. That's exactly what I just thought. I see the cameras, and I was like, no, Jack is a lovely, lovely individual. But he really is. He really is.
Here we have a
So
lawyer.
I'm looking around nervously, he said. But so Robert's idea is like, Anthony, you take Jack down the road somewhere in between Oxford and Tupelo, and y'all hide, but you need to park your truck about a half a mile away so that when the bus is coming, they don't see your truck. They just see Elvis down there. So you film him. You get in the bushes. You get in the bushes and film film Elvis. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's about 2,000 degrees. You were on that trip, Fran. You remember this. So we're on this. I'm out there with Elvis beside the road. Here comes the bus. I'm squatting in the bushes trying to film through the leaves.
And sweating.
I was sweating. Whew, like a, well. All right, so here comes the bus. He gets in. Wow, it's this wonderful thing. Robert's like, hey, look who's hitchhiking. And then Elvis gets on the bus and he does this concert in the bus, up and down the aisle. It's great. I have to run a half a mile to my truck to go catch up with the bus. I get a phone call from David Cruz. I kid you not. David Cruz called and he said, Anthony, did I just see you running down Highway 6? I said, yes, you saw me. Was I sweating? Yeah. And so here I am, I'm sweating now. And I'm running down Highway 6. I finally catch up with, so now picture this. It was so perfect and went over so well. Robert is going to do this again. But the problem is we were filming for television, so everybody saw this. 10 or so people saw this episode, and so the secret is out, okay, in all the social platforms and all, and it's a great thing. So Rob said, we're going to do this again. And the next tour, we weren't filming, but this is what this man, let me tell you what this man did. Here's the same Elvis tribute artist. And Robert says, well, I can't put him beside the road. They'll be expecting that. So Robert, for 2 hours, has this poor man cooped up in the bathroom of that bus.
In the 68 leather suit.
In a 1968 leather Elvis suit. There's no air conditioner in the bathroom in that bus. This poor guy, and he's having to wait. And everybody's loading their luggage, and everybody's coming out the hotel, and everybody's taking their time. They finally get on the bus, and somewhere between Oxford and Tupelo, he's supposed to come out. Well, this poor man. Now, I don't know if you're up on your Elvis trivia. Elvis died in a bathroom. Robert's got this poor man in the bathroom for 2 hours just sitting here thinking about poor old Elvis dying in the bathroom. Robert, you broke this man.
I did.
He broke him. This guy came out of the bathroom. I mean, he's got tears, or it could have been sweat, but I think it was tears, and talking about, I was just thinking about how poor Elvis died. This is the kind of man, yeah, y'all go on the trips and y'all have fun. This is that poor guy in that bathroom. I just had to share that from my heart. Robert does care. We were filming in Rome one time, and Robert sees Wyatt doing this. I filmed about 30 paintings of Wyatt's on this trip, but Robert sees this and, oh, Anthony, come here. So I'm running across the courtyard, and I'm a big old dude, and I, no amens, and I tripped on this ledge and went down hard. I'm airborne. Because I'm running across there, and I'm trying to protect the camera. I slid across, scraped all the skin off my arm. My knee had a goose egg the size of a softball. It was hard. I went down hard. Wyatt, by the way, never stops painting. Wyatt is sitting there. Oh, Anthony, that look. Oh, I know. Oh, I've got it on video. It's on the show. You can go to pbs.org and watch this. The episode is called "The Fall of the Roman Empire." We were so clever, but Robert, to his credit, Robert springs into action. On the GoPro, you see Robert running across there. I'm bleeding. I'm hurt. I'm on the ground in Tuscany. Or outside of Rome. It was right outside of Rome. Here comes Robert. He's coming over there, and I'm thinking, oh, here comes Robert. And he bends down. He's picking up my bloody, hurt body, and he's helping lift me up. And he bends down, and he says, "Is the camera okay?" Is the camera okay? For the record, the camera was not okay. But it wasn't just Robert. Jill comes in there. So you got all these little Italian waiters who are worried that I'm going to sue them. So they whisk me into this room. All the little Italian waiters, they're trying to doctor my legs. So they remove my pants. I don't know if you've ever had your pants removed by little Italian waiters. I have. And they've got me on the couch. They gave me horse tranquilizer. I kid you not.
It's true.
And I gladly took it. And I was hurting bad, and Robert's still looking at that camera. Here comes Jill, and to her credit, she says, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I think so." And then Jill proceeds to take selfies with me sitting on the couch in my underwear. That is also on the show, possibly a first for Mississippi Public Broadcasting. Another trip filming, Robert, I'm an excellent driver. Well, he's filming, we're filming him driving these golf carts, and he's wanting to race Jesse, and he's racing him. Guys, in Rome, in the city of Rome, and Robert can't beat him. Well, he's such an excellent driver. The reason we couldn't beat Jesse, Robert was driving the whole time with the emergency brake on. There's a cloud of smoke behind our golf cart like we're spraying for mosquitoes. I mean, it was just, okay. I've got two more things. Now, Robert has published all kinds of books. I've designed some, hang on, we're not through. So, Robert has published all kinds of books, and you would think, since he does a book every other month, that there's none that he turned down. But these are some rejects that he kind of almost published, but didn't wind up publishing. This was a good one. This was a memoir. I'm not a chef, but I played one on TV. So I think that was going to be a good one. That's a good photo. I like that. All right. There was another. He also toyed with a memoir. He's getting older, and he said, perhaps maybe I should do another memoir. And this one says, "Running Out of Time." It might take a bit of time.
Yeah, I get it. Get it.
I was speaking slowly for you.
Like
All right. Robert was also publishing some other books for some other people after Katrina. This was kind of a tie-in. There had been some damage. So this one he was going to publish. It's called "Crescent City Grill's Roof Has a Hole in It" by Lee King. Okay. All right. And then last but certainly not least, so Robert, he has done all these books. He's got a Christmas cookbook coming out. I just designed that. He's got Mississippi Morning.
In November.
Coming soon to a bookstore near you. And Robert is never at a loss to engage his vast fan base. So Robert is like saying, what other holidays? So he's got a new book coming out for Valentine's Day called Hugs and Quiches. I'm so sorry. My dog liked these jokes before I came. All right, last thing. Here we go. I thought I'd take a lesson from Robert and ask other people, just like you guys have done and gotten comments from other folks. Robert has learned how to get other people to do your work for you, so that's what I'm doing. So I got a couple of comments. I reached out to Maria Keys. Maria is Robert's financial person, his accountant. And I figured she would know what to say, and she emailed Anthony, "Although I have a ton of material, I feel I may be unemployed if I contribute to this." Here's a good one. Anna Gloria from Tuscany. She would hire drivers and guides and stuff, and Anna Gloria's, and Robert would sometimes drive these vans. And now they no longer let Robert drive the vans because he was so aggressive, even by Italian standards. And in her words, Robert would always deliver the van al dente. That was my favorite. This is A material. Okay, couple more. Julian Rankin, former director of the Walter Anderson Museum. These are all real. Julian said, I didn't know where Robert was before the show. I finally ran into him in the men's room. By the time I was done washing my hands and turned around, Robert had opened up a new restaurant concept in the handicap stall. And it had already closed by the end of the evening. Dr. Blake Thompson from Mississippi College said Robert's uncles attended MC, donated a pipe organ. Robert wanted to attend, but we had to turn him down. Robert had tried to get in with what he said was an ACT score of 21. He said he made a 10 the first try and an 11 the second time he did it. We had to tell him it didn't work that way. But regardless, Mississippi State took him. I'm sorry, that was just an extra. Come on now, don't stay with me. Here we go. Billy D. William Dunlap, artist, author. You're told. All right, so Billy, he said, a roast for Robert St. John. Excellent use of the press club's time and resources. It's worth noting that I've known Robert since he was 11 years old. His mom drug him to the Old Capitol Museum for a festival, and he was there for my announcement of a run for governor on a platform of good taste. I was immediately impeached. Robert is yet to comment one way or the other. He immediately ordered a hamburger with double French fries. My name is Bill Dunlap, and I approve this message. Jill Connor Brown said that she loves Robert and his cookbooks because all the recipes turn out as expected every time. The only flaw in Robert is his love for blue plate mayonnaise. It's an egregious error, but as a good Christian woman, I love him anyway, just like Jesus does. So that's what Jill said. And last, fittingly, is an employee of the Riley Foods who is here, Damien. So, of Riley Foods, who actually makes blue plate mayonnaise. So we'll give Damien the last word. Damien wrote a lot of stuff, and my time's up. So here's what I'm going to say. Not many people know this. 30 years ago, Robert thought a Tom Selleck-sized mustache was a good idea. Instead of a tall, lanky, muscular guy who drove a Ferrari, Robert was a gnome-sized version of that who drove a Honda Accord. If you know anything about Robert, he's a man on a mission, puts more into one day than most people can fit into a year, managing multiple businesses, ventures, a charity, employing 450 people, and being a community leader. What you may not know is that Robert's old mustache also went off and started businesses too, and now employs 150 people. Robert also wanted to give back, so he started a chain of gas stations for retired adult film stars. It failed because right when the tank was nearly full, the attendant would pull the nozzle out and spray the car with gasoline. This is horrible. Damien! Okay, let me read this a little closer. Sorry about that, folks. Did I mention I'm from Mississippi College?
And he's from New Orleans.
He's from New Orleans. He said this was the clean stuff. Anyway, Robert is going into AI head first. And matter of fact, while he is sitting here, he has formed multiple LLMs via texting from his phone. But Robert is a creative storm that passes through, and instead of leaving destruction in its wake, he leaves a wake of hope, goodwill, and creativity. In the Jewish faith, there is an expression, tikkun olam. It is a commandment that one is charged with repairing the world. Another way of saying it is, I am my brother's keeper. Well, no one embodies that tikkun olam or brother's keeper more than Robert St. John, and we are all better for it. Much love, Robert, and may you never, ever slow down, Damien, which was really cool. So I agree with Damien, and I close with this. Robert and I were doing our first book tour, and we were up in the Delta driving between we did 16 book signings in, 2 weeks. You've experienced this. We're driving through the Delta. I don't even know from where to where, and I turned to Robert and I said, what do you want to do with the time you have left? And he said this. He said, we're cheerleading, we're sharing good Mississippi stories, we're positive, we're being part of the solution. This is what I want to do. And he said, Anthony, this is rare air, because a lot of people would love to have a book tour. Or, we've had plenty of book signings where nobody shows up, but some of the book signings, there'd be a line out the door. And he said, this is rare air. People don't get to experience this all the time, and I hope you'll appreciate this. And I've never forgotten that, and it made me more appreciative. And watching Robert's generosity and watching what he does is just, it really is something that it's not just about trying to get other people to do things for you, but it's sharing in that experience, is always wanting to bring people in and let you share and be a part of this wonderful, wonderful world. So I love you. I'm proud to call you my friend, and I hope you'll be really nice on your rebuttals. Onward!
Well done, Anthony. Just a fantastic dad who had some fantastic dad jokes thrown in there, too. There was some good stuff. All right, batting cleanup. We have our home run hitter. We have Mary Ryan Brown. I'm kind of excited to get to meet you. This is really a lot of fun. She's a Southern writer and comedian with a background in literature and marketing. Her distinct voice and stage presence makes her a unique player in the comedy world. She creates unforgettable characters and satire on social media, and she performs stand-up and improvisational crowd work at venues across the country. She writes branding and marketing content as well as poetry and fiction. She's a wife, mom, a runner, and a devotee of, God, I can't speak English at this point of the night. Anyway, careful. Of gas station coffee through a straw, always through a straw. I'm not even going to ask. Beyond the entertainment world, Mary Ryan is a devoted writer and a creative consultant whose work spans from brand direction, campaign strategy, web content, and advertising copy to fiction, poetry, and lyrical nonfiction. Give it up for Mary Ryan Brown.
Thank you, Marshall. I appreciate it. I do have a roast for everybody on the panel if y'all are interested in hearing that, but it feels a bit aggressive. But it's the end of the night. Are we feeling crazy? It's always weird
Why are y'all clapping for that?
to roast people you don't know that well, but I find that being rude comes very naturally to me. Okay. Malcolm White. Always interesting to meet a white Malcolm.
Nice to meet you as well.
When I was in college, I accidentally dropped my burner phone in a Hal and Mal's toilet. So I believe that means we are married. Mazel. All right, Brian Haydad. I admire you for the way you have turned armchair quarterback into a lifelong career. Keep talking, buddy, because those who can't do talk. It's so rude. My goodness, who am I? What? Anthony Thaxton, you are an award-winning painter, educator, television producer, and filmmaker. I will not, however, take you seriously until you produce a documentary about the Hattiesburg Patriot. All right, it's not, not that bad. I'll think of something else. All right, Marshall Ramsey. Your cousin, Dave Ramsey, told me to tell you to stop spending money on art supplies. It's wasteful and also sinful.
You know Dave well.
I do. Rice and beans, baby, rice and beans.
Rice and beans.
I love your cartoons, but if you draw one more dead celebrity meeting his childhood dog at the gates of heaven, I'm going to kill myself. And my childhood dog had rabies and is in hell. Thank you to the Mississippi Press Association. You know print journalism is dying when I, a loud white woman who acts like a gay man, am the diversity hire. I want to thank you for supporting local journalism in Mississippi. I'm from Hattiesburg, where our only news sources are Facebook wine moms, the Hattiesburg Patriot, and a coked-up carrier pigeon with a broken wing. He's the one who invited me to this roast before pooping in my hair. In Hattiesburg, we used to have the Hattiesburg American, but it was purchased by Gannett, who would print pop-up ads for Tide Pods if they could. The Hattiesburg American used to carry Robert's column, but they stopped because readers complained it was, quote, too inspirational and exceedingly poetic. Like Midtown Donut, Hattiesburg wasn't ready for and didn't deserve Robert St. John's realness. I love reading Robert's column, which is as sentimental as his food is fattening. We get it, Robert. You love your kids. And cream-based sauces. Robert's specialty is serving heart disease while pulling on your heartstrings. It's corn and crab bisque for the middle-aged soul.
I'm going to use that.
You can use it. You can okay. I've known Robert so long that I do remember when he was a little chubby, and and people say not to trust a skinny chef, but Robert is more than a chef. He's a philanthropist, and I think we should trust a skinny philanthropist. His mission with Extra Table has always been to trim the fat in the nonprofit space, and he truly started with the man in the mirror. What? He needed to get cute for Holloman's wedding. My dad waited tables for Robert in the 90s when the two of them had hair and were able to somehow score their wives who are patently out of their league. When I was born, the marquee for Crescent City Grill said, "Welcome, Mary Ryan Carnes," as if I was the fish of the day. I was either in the family or on the menu. I'm still not sure. My grandparents, Drs. Ray and Frances Carnes, ate at Crescent City Grill every single day for over 20 years. That is not an exaggeration. How does a chef create such loyal customers? Was it his foolproof menu of delicious and consistent food? Was it his tireless commitment to customer service? No, he laced their sensation salads with cocaine. My poor grandparents thought it was Parmesan cheese. How dare you, Robert, give my grandparents drugs and make them cool as hell? 10 years ago, I spent a summer working as a hostess for Crescent City Grill. Like my father, I broke so many plates and boosted so many French fries that I ended up costing the restaurant money. I was a terrible hostess. I was too busy vaping in the deep freeze and flirting with the busboy to be bothered with refilling customers' sweet tea. I was surprised when Robert later hired my brother Mo, who still works at Crescent City to this day. Hiring the Carneses was actually Robert's first charity project. Extra Table is way better though because it helps people who deserve it. But make no mistake, Robert is a ruthless businessman. He'll kill you with kindness and cholesterol. Ed's Burger Joint is actually just a front for the Dixie Mafia. You really think he's making money off of those outrageous military-grade milkshakes? Please. And El Rayo only closed because the cartel thought Robert was getting too powerful. And because the skirt steak was giving people the meat sweats. If you or a loved one has been personally victimized by the El Rayo tin can salad that Robert forced on us during the pandemic, you may be entitled to legal compensation. Call 1-800-PPP-LOAN to join the class action lawsuit against unchecked creativity. Some people don't know this, but Robert has a deathly fear of clowns.
That's true.
Which I find ironic because he spends nearly every waking moment with Drew Wooten.
That was harsh.
Robert has over 40 years of sobriety. His own openness about his struggle with addiction has inspired so many, including me, to reconsider our own relationships with alcohol. In large part, due to Robert's influence, I stopped drinking in March of 2024. And since then, I have seen my life expand and transform in ways I could not have imagined. So thank you, Robert, for that. But Robert, if I have to see one more jump cut Drew Wooten Facebook video of you talking about king cake, I'm going to relapse and it's going to be your fault. Robert has built a life and a business based on storytelling and connection. He's a deeply grounded, incredibly down-to-earth entrepreneur, and so much of his success can be attributed to the unwavering support of his life partner, Wyatt Waters. New South Restaurant Group is a family business, and one day it will be taken over by his beloved son, Jared Patterson. Robert is a world traveler whose legendary culinary tours through Europe boast years-long wait lists of empty nesters. Someday, Robert, when I hit menopause, I'm going to go on one of these trips with you. I can't wait to have you mansplain pancetta to me while I battle a hot flash in the Italian countryside. To me, Robert St. John is a true Southern belle. He has a repertoire of excellent recipes, a dogged loyalty to his family and community, and a surprising affinity for pearl necklaces. You can see it on the front of the program there. I've actually heard whispers of an urban legend that Robert's leather pearl necklace was given to him by a witch in Seaside, Florida, and is the only thing holding his head to his body. Just a few weeks ago, Robert and I shared a stage for a very different event, my grandmother's funeral. He gave a beautiful eulogy for my grandmother, Dr. Frances Carnes, one of his first and most supportive patrons. She was the one who encouraged Robert to write his first cookbook, so if you've ever received it, along with some noxious candle from your well-meaning mother-in-law, you have Dr. Frances Carnes to thank. All jokes aside, Robert, your testament to my grandmother a couple of weeks ago made me so thankful for the way you have poured into not only my family, but your entire community. Robert, very rarely do we meet someone as giving, creative, supportive, and kind as you are. You have always put family and community first, and it shows. Your children and your city will go to bat for you, tin can salads be damned. To me, you are what makes Mississippi a place worth visiting and celebrating. In one of your recent columns, you wrote about how the table is always the destination. Fellowship, connection, and nourishment are what we should aspire to achieve in this life. You, Robert, have done it, and in doing it, you've taught us all how. Thank you for demonstrating a life of sobriety, passion, purpose, and service. But please, for the love of all that's good, can you put the banana praline dream back on the Crescent City dessert menu? If you did that, you'd be getting the Presidential Medal of Honor, not this silly made-up thing from the Mississippi Press Foundation. Last thing, Robert, it's restaurant, not restaurant. Above the legendary alligator door handles at Crescent City Grill, you hung a sign that reads, "Through these doors, all are welcome, all are appreciated, and all are loved. Just know that we love you back." And your vision for Mississippi is ours. And as you always say, onward.
Mary Ryan, thank you so much for roasting all of us, too. In fact, you murdered me so good, I drew a cartoon of myself going through the pearly gates greeting my new puppy. So thank you. That was fantastic. Well, we've heard a lot about Robert St. John tonight, but we're going to hear a little bit more because I'm going to read his official bio. This should take us until about 10 o'clock. Yeah, that should be about right. Hey, Robert St. John, as you know, is a Mississippi-based restaurateur, author, television producer, and community advocate who has led the New South Restaurant Group as the president and CEO since 1987. A visionary entrepreneur, he owns and operates several acclaimed restaurants in the Hattiesburg area, including the Crescent City Grill, the Mahogany Bar, Tabla's, Ed's Burger Joint, the Midtowner, the Downtowner, the Loblolly Bakery, and probably 6 more since we've been sitting here. He's a graduate of the University of Southern Mississippi with a Bachelor of Science in Hospitality and Management. St. John was honored with the university's Lifetime Achievement Award in 2023 and inducted into the USM's Alumni Alumni Hall of Fame. Beyond his culinary endeavors, St. John is an accomplished author, having written 14 books and 26 years of writing his weekly syndicated column, over 1,300 columns and more than 1 million words. Robert has never missed a single week. A couple things that are not on here: he is an incredible father and he's a great friend, and now he gets to get his revenge. Robert St. John.
Woo! Man, I'm going to tell you. I feel like I just sat through a live action Yelp review in this place. So, you know, I got this call while I was working overseas. I don't know if it was in the spring or the fall. And a lot of times the telephone connections overseas aren't the best in the world. And I have a hearing loss anyway. And I got this call, and it said, Robert, this is Mississippi Press Association. And they said, we want to toast you. And I said, oh, hell yeah, I'm in, man. Y'all want to toast me? I'm all for it. It wasn't until a little bit later that I learned that this was a roast for me. The only other roast I've attended in person was one they did of Jackie Sherrill years ago, and they did it over at the Sports Hall of Fame. And everybody, seriously, everybody on the stage, nobody ripped up Jackie Sherrill. I mean, it wasn't a roast at all.
Seen his hands?
Yeah, true. Matt Wyatt gave him a little bit of a thing. And so I wasn't sure what this was going to be, and so I had prepared 2 documents. One is for a good roast, and one is for a bad roast. The good roast is out of here.
All right.
Man, this was brutal tonight, but I have had a blast. Marshall, thank you. Thank you for being a Toastmaster. Marshall and I wrote a book together. The book was called Nobody's Poet. My staff calls it Nobody Bought It. The bookstores called it Nobody Gives a Damn. And critics said it should have been called Nobody Should Have Published It. Marshall and I toured with that book, and the highlight of every signing we went to was watching the bookstore clerk put our stack back in the box. The book tour was a smash hit if you count the sound of the bookstore door slamming shut. It did not do well, y'all. If you haven't read Nobody's Poet, anybody in here read Nobody's Poet? Okay, we got 1, 2, 3. My point exactly. My wife didn't even read it. Hey, Dad. My boy Brian. Hey, Dad. Your jokes needed more Manjaro than I did. Brian's here representing Mississippi State, which means he's got plenty of free time in December. Brian's love for Mississippi State football is truly inspiring. It really is. It's like watching a guy invest his life savings in Blockbuster stock in 2023. You may hear Brian. He's on the radio every day on Sports Talk Mississippi 97.3. Brian used to run a pizza. A lot of people don't know this, but Brian used to run a pizza shop in college and after college. He was running a pizza shop. Now he just runs out of breath. But it's seriously, he bleeds maroon and white and gravy. His idea of a balanced diet is pizza in every hand. If you put Brown on a treadmill, it'd file for workers' comp. And if cholesterol were a sport, Brian, you'd be an All-American. Malcolm, I've seen health department write-ups that were funnier than that toast. In 2001, true story here, in 2001, Malcolm turned 50. They gave him a huge birthday party. It was at the Old Capitol Inn. I received the invitation. It was a great invitation. Picture of Malcolm on the front. It's back when the beard was black. And it's a true story. Jill will back it up. My 4-year-old daughter at the time asked me, Daddy, why is there a picture of Osama bin Laden on our refrigerator?
True story. Malcolm's a fellow restaurateur. His restaurant career was legendary, mostly for teaching the rest of us exactly what not to do. He did, as he said earlier, I was on the Mississippi Arts Commission, did like a 4-year term there. We hired Malcolm. I was on the search committee. We hired him because he was smart, creative, and charismatic, and we were out of other options. When he went to work for Mississippi Tourism, he thought it'd be all travel and promotion. Turns out it was mostly arguing with Phil Bryant in rooms without air conditioning.
Like Elvis.
Yeah. So he'll tell you, being a Democrat in Mississippi is tough. Malcolm's basically the panda bear of politics, rare, endangered, and not interested in reproducing. It's like being a vegan at a pig roast. You'll get invited, but you're not going to get a plate. He went into Mississippi Tourism thinking he'd travel. Instead, he just toured the inside of Phil Bryant's bad mood. That's true, y'all. I'm going to tell you, it was rough. Malcolm survived restaurants, politics, and Phil Bryant, which is basically the Mississippi triple bypass. His political enemies list is as long as a CVS receipt. He said working in Mississippi tourism was an honor, but that's the same thing people say when they get jury duty. He is living proof that you can have a misspent youth, a misspent middle age, and still have enough energy left to piss off a governor. Antonio.
No, say more about Malcolm.
Antonio. Anthony. Ladies and gentlemen, Anthony Thaxton is a director, an editor, a musician, a painter, and it's a shame comedy's not on the list. He's been filming me for 20 years. At this point, he's basically my stalker with better lighting. He's such a perfectionist as a director. If a shot takes 3 hours, that's fine, unless it's his lunch break, and then we're out in 10 minutes. He grew up in Career, a town so small the high school prom was just two cousins slow dancing in the parking lot.
She was pretty.
Yeah. Career is so remote, Anthony didn't see a Starbucks until he was 30 years old. He thought Frappuccino was an Italian cuss word. Career is so small.
How small is it?
Let's try that again.
Don't help him.
Career is so small.
How small is it?
Thank you. The tourism brochures just says keep driving. He can also play the piano, sing, direct, film, play bass, basically everything except say no to cake. Ooh, okay. Man, that was a rumble right there.
That was a tough one there.
I'm gonna skip the last one then. Mary Ryan. Yeah, I'm down a few pounds. Monjaro worked wonders for me. Meanwhile, you're still carrying the weight of all your bad decisions. My scales thank me daily. I've had colonoscopies that were more enjoyable than those jokes. Thank you for proving once again comedy is not for everybody. I was a little worried at first, man. When you ask a professional comedian to come up here and roast you, you know, it's pretty rough. But, you know, actually my family does worse at Thanksgiving. Mary Ryan is an influencer, which means she's mastered the art of doing nothing in full makeup. Influencer is just another word for millennial who's unemployed with followers. As a 30-year-old influencer, she's right at the stage where TikTokers think she's too old and Facebook thinks she's hot.
Right where I want to be.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, the most dangerous place in Mississippi isn't a biker bar at 2 a.m. It's not Capitol Street in downtown Jackson at any time of the day. The most dangerous place in Mississippi is between Mary Ryan and a front-facing camera.
I don't know whether I'm the pot or the kettle in that one, Tim. I have 3 cameras here filming content. She does stand up in venues, if you didn't know. Her shows are so small, the audience can heckle her and still make it home in time to watch her bomb on Instagram Live. Her Instagram skits are about Southern women. They're hilarious, mostly because they're all based on her last family reunion. She's the only performer up here who can sell out a venue, and that venue is her aunt's living room. So look, guys, all these people I consider friends and Mississippi treasures. Marshall Ramsey is one of the most talented and genuine men in the public eye in Mississippi. Malcolm White is a very good friend, and he's done more to celebrate and improve Mississippi culture over the years than anyone. Period. Amen. End of story. Brian Haydad is my soul brother and a truly gifted broadcaster and podcaster with an encyclopedic knowledge of sports. Anthony Thaxton, and I have said this often, is truly the most talented man I know. He's a true Renaissance man and a pleasure to collaborate with on all levels. Mary Ryan Carnes is smart, confident, talented, and is paving her own path in life. And as one who has always marched to the beat of a different drummer, I admire that. I want to thank everybody I have had a blast here tonight. I'm so honored to be asked. When you look at the list of people who have been in this position over the years with governors and senators, it just, I feel very ill-equipped to be here, but I am truly honored. I have so many friends in this room. When I was just sitting here listening and laughing and looking around at my friends from all over that I've known for so long, it means a lot. I also want to say thanks to the Mississippi Press Association. It's special for me for a lot of reasons. For those reasons I said, the honor and the other people and all that stuff, but for me personally, it has a different meaning to be here tonight because my family was in the newspaper business. My grandfather owned the Hattiesburg American from 1918 until he sold it in the early 1960s. And someone in my family, in some form or fashion, with that publication, was there for over 100 years. Every decade since the early 1900s. My father worked there as the business manager until his death in 1968. I only have 2 pictures of me and my dad, and one was the day I came home from the hospital, and the other was at the Mississippi Press Association convention on the Gulf Coast just a few months before he passed away, and I treasure that. My brother worked at the Hattiesburg American in the 1970s. My wife, sister-in-law, and mother-in-law worked there in the 1980s and 1990s, and in 1999 I began writing a weekly column in that paper. The column's still published weekly in a couple of dozen newspapers around the state and online. In the early days of the column, I never really considered myself a columnist or even a writer. I was kind of the redheaded stepchild of the Clarion Ledger. But the emails I consistently received let me know that people connected with the words and the stories. Eventually, if not through sheer volume, I came to believe that I am indeed a writer. And that's something I'm proud to be. In the past 26 years, I've never missed a week. 1,000+ words a week for over 1,300 weeks and over 1.3 million words in print. Without that column in the American and later the Ledger and the Sun Herald and the Daily Journal and all the others, there would be no books, no publishing career, and so much more. So it's with true and lasting gratitude that I thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you.
Robert St. John, everybody. I took this over from Sid Salter around 2010. I've done it nearly every year. I have to say that tonight has been incredibly enjoyable. I want to thank everybody sitting up here at the table. Y'all just knocked it out of the park. This was a fantastic evening. I want to say thanks again once again. Standing behind me here is the past foundation chairman, Joel McNeese. I'd like him to step up here and give a special presentation to our honoree on behalf of the Mississippi Press Foundation.
Thank you, Marshall.
Thank you.
It is my honor tonight to honor Robert with a special award that we give to all of our roastees every year. As a proud Southern Miss alum, I will also say that I'm very partial to Robert because I through my school years, I was a regular at the Purple Parrot. I couldn't really afford the Crescent City, but I was a regular at the Purple Parrot, and now I'm a regular at the Midtowner all the time. So I have a deep affection for Robert and all of his columns. Our award that we present every year is named after my late father-in-law, S. Gale Dinley, who was a journalism instructor who made his career at the University of Mississippi, where the Student Media Center there is named in his honor. But I should also point out, given the circumstances of tonight, his very first year of teaching journalism in Mississippi was at USM in Hattiesburg. And he lived in an apartment, which is where the IHOP is right now, across the street on Hardy Street, where I used my student discount pretty regularly when I was in school there. So it is my honor to present the S. Gale Dinley Memorial Journalism Education Award to Robert St. John. We thank you so much for doing this for us tonight.
Thank you.
Wonderful. I would like to add all the proceeds from this tonight go toward the Mississippi Press Association Foundation, which we use to fund journalism scholarships all around the state to all our schools. So thank you very much for supporting this tonight. We appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Joel. Appreciate it.
Thank you. We said we'd get you out of here before 9 o'clock. It is 8:57. I want to thank all the sponsors for tonight, and I want to thank all of you for being here. Let's give Robert one more big round of applause. Thank you again for being here tonight. Thank you.
Good job.
That was amazing. That was a great job.
That was fun. Good job. Okay. Group photo. Good fun.
Anthony.
It went well, huh?
Actually, it's kind of funny.
Oh, I've gotten worse.
I know. Huh?
White Malcolm, man.
I had Phil show up.
18. Fucking slave.
That wasn't too bad, but I wasn't up on the stage. I expected to be good. Y'all enjoyed it.
I did. I wasn't sure I was going to go.
No, this is a great one.